STEIN is a recreation of a beautiful antique Steinway & Sons Model B with all the bells and whistles you could imagine from a piano of that caliber and quality. We have 10 mics on offer in a series of stereo configurations, from player position, where the mics were placed behind the head of the musician, to the front left and right, which was two pencil mics above the hammer position on the piano, around a meter above, and spread very wide in the stereo field. So you get all of your rich, luscious lows kind of creeping from the left of the stereo field, and then all of your glistening highs kind of tailing off to the right. It's a really beautiful image captured just naturally in the room, and it translates very well into the app as well. Then there is the soundboard left and right, which was on a cross configuration stereo, capturing the sound as it exited the actual soundboard through the holes. Then we have a series of mono condenser mics that were run through a series of Neumanns in the center of the piano above the strings, then at the rear of the piano facing towards the strings and towards the player. Then a floor mic, which was a ribbon mic, a beautiful old vintage ribbon mic facing up into the body of the instrument, creating all of the kind of muddy low end that you can blend into taste. And then finally a condenser just out in the ether of the room, capturing all of that lovely ambience that goes on when you play an instrument as complex as a grand piano. You can purge any of these positions as well to cut down dramatically on RAM, because this is a hungry beast. The voice counts get up very quickly because it is just such a deep sampled instrument, and there are so many signals on offer. You can find a really great sound just cutting right down to maybe just the front left and right. You can really get to a delicate and nuanced sound by cutting right down on your mic sounds if you need it in terms of RAM. Otherwise, have all 10 blazing like we do here and have a decent mix of all of those things. You just get a very rich and resonant sound of the grand piano. On the left hand side of the interface, you'll see there are 4 dials here. These are kind of the mechanical sounds of the piano. So the standard sound of the piano pedal, the sustain pedal going up and down, that was captured because when you press the sustain pedal on a grand piano, all the strings just very delicately get agitated and they all just start to resonate. So you get this beautiful kind of white noisy effect when you press the pedal down. If I turn that right up, we'll hear what that sounds like. And one more time. Awesome. Adds such a depth of realism. If you dial that into taste, somewhere around the midway point is a great place to start. Then the release sounds, we've kind of split this into 2 categories, because when you release a note on a grand piano, an awful lot of mechanical things happen inside the piano. A lot of wood moves around, a lot of things clunk into place. So we've created the release clunk, which is just the mechanical wooden sound of a note finishing on the piano without any actual pitch reference, just the kind of clunky mechanical sound of the instrument doing its thing. Then we have the release string. Now that is the sound of the string, if it's still resonating, getting pinched off by the mute as it closes into place. You kind of hear this very specific and unique pinching of the pitch as the note closes off. Let's check those 2 things out. We'll turn them right up. This is obviously going to be far too loud in actual use, but just so you hear what it sounds like. So the clunk in isolation. Great, so just get a mechanical clunking sound. Then if we turn the release string up, great, that's just the sound of the note being pinched. Again, if you kind of set these things to somewhere around the halfway mark, you're really getting a very realistic, beautiful and natural sounding piano. Okay, then the final thing, the sustain. This is a deceptively complex control. It does a lot of the heavy lifting. When it comes to a piano, a grand piano, in sustain mode where the sustain pedal is down, you get more than just the note you play. So you'll play a note and the string that you've struck will of course resonate. But if you have the sustain pedal down, every single string that is tuned to a pitch that will have some sort of symbiotic and sympathetic resonance attached to that note in the harmonic series will also resonate. So you just get this kind of humming. The whole instrument just starts to sing with that one singular note as well. The trouble that an awful lot of virtual instruments run into is that they'll sample this as sustain pedal up, capture all of the notes, then sustain pedal down, capture all of the notes, which makes sense on the face of things that when you use the sustain pedal, you access the different notes. What we've done here, we've taken a different approach and we sampled the instrument with the sustain pedal up to capture all of the dry sounds of the notes. Then we sustain pedal down, played the note, allowed the string to begin the resonance throughout all of the string frequencies, then muted the actual initial triggered note that we played, allowing just the resonance to run through the instrument, this beautiful, warm, luscious glow of texture that happens when you play with a sustain pedal down. That allowed us to then later apply that sustain resonance to each of the pitches that were recorded, but allow for the dry sustain note to be the main factor of the sound, allowing you, as the person that will use this instrument, to turn the sustain level up or down, which is an unparalleled level of control, because you still get the powerful note, you still get the volume you require from the actual attack of the note you're playing, but you can dial into taste how much of that resonant glow you get after the fact, which also helps to cut down dramatically on that overhyping that can happen far too easily in the software world when it comes to pianos. It's a really beautiful and lush way to deal with it. Let's check it out. We'll play a few notes without the sustain and then a few notes with, and then we'll crank the sustain up so you can really understand what's happening. Okay, so let's play a note without the sustain. And one more time. Now with the sustain engaged, so we're going to get that beautiful lush resonance that washes over the strings like a shimmer. That's so beautiful, and just even a single note is instantly inspiring. It just makes you want to play less notes, less busy, and just enjoy that beautiful resonant sound of those strings just reverberating. Really lovely. So we can dial this in. If we want a little bit less of that, you want a drier sound, but you still want to be able to engage that sustain pedal, of course you can turn it down, or you can go really crazy, turn it up and get quite a special effect. It's like a natural reverb, but it isn't. It's this beautiful resonance from all of the strings that would happen naturally in the real world. But of course here you have the complete control yourself to dial that sound in to taste however you want it to be. Such a powerful feature and really lends so much controllability and character to this library. I love it. Again, somewhere around the middle is a great place for this to live. Lovely. Okay, before we leave this main page, just want to point out that there is also a reverse texture. It wouldn't be an Insanity Samples library without some form of a curveball in there beyond the sustain functionality that is pretty powerful. We also have this reverse texture going on. So when we play a chord, very cool. And we can dial this in volume-wise as well to taste. Just an extra additional texture that really adds a creative element to what you're doing, just straight out of the bat. Okay, so then we have the classic effects page with stereo, delay, and reverb. Stereo does come into its own here. It's on most of our libraries, but with this instrument, it really widens that stereo field and helps us kind of spread the piano sound if we engage that. Cool, and then a basic delay and reverb. Then we have an EQ page. This is only really there, again, just to bolster the overall ability to craft this sound in the box. I'm sure most people would use their own EQs from their own DAWs and their own chosen plugin providers for that. But it's there in case you need it and for a quick change of the overall ambience of the instrument. By default, we just have a little bit of push in the bass going on here. We have a little bit of a dip in the kind of central mids, and we have a little bit of a boost in the highs just to add some brilliance to those beautiful glistening top ends. Okay, that has been an in-depth look at the Stein, a beautiful recreation of an antique Steinway Model B. Head to insanitysamples.com for more information, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.